You're
listening to the For Frequency's Sake Network.
It is a 4:45 here in the Midwest on a Friday, early evening, late afternoon, whatever you want to call it. I guess you could say early evening. It's about to be like 5 o'clock. So we are here and we are ready to rock and roll. Let's open this up a little bit and exuberate some outside lighting. Whatever there is. It's like darkish outside kind of today. A little doomy-ish and gloomy-ish. But that is all right because it is NBA Finals Game 1 recap right here on the Educated Ignorance podcast. And as always, we are presented by our good friend Brian Beal over at Keller Williams Midwest Partners. And also our podcast network here at For Frequency's Sake. QC is presented by Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook Country Financial. So game 1 of the NBA Finals was last night, and we're going to discuss that in its entirety and break down some stuff and give a little bit of insight on what to expect for game 2, which will be on Sunday. But first, let us thank, of course, our brand new presenting sponsor, and that is our friend Bryant Beal over at Keller Williams Midwest Partners. Are you looking for a stress-free home buying or selling experience? Well, as a licensed Illinois realtor with Keller Williams Midwest Partners, Bryant Beal offers great expert guidance and personalized service to make your transaction smooth and successful. With his extensive knowledge of the local market and dedication to exceptional customer service, you can trust that Bryant will work tirelessly to achieve your real estate goals. Whether you're buying or selling, Brian is committed to delivering the best possible results. Contact him at 309-909-5045 or BryantBeal@kw.com. That is 309-909-5045 or BryantBeal@kw.com. And let's get started. All right. I want to thank him as always and thank everybody who's hanging out with us on this Friday. Hope you're ready for an exciting weekend. Stanley Cup Final Game 1 tomorrow. Finals Game 2 on Sunday. We're right in we're right on the doorstep of summer and all that good stuff. The dog days, the weather this weekend is immaculate here in the Quad Cities. So, go find a pool and go do some fun stuff with people you care about. Should be exciting. All right, let's talk about last night, Game 1 of the NBA Finals. I don't want to say it was exactly what I expected because I don't want to sit here and act like I thought Boston was going to roll out of bed last night and dominate. I felt like game 1 would be the game that they would win. Listen, obviously I picked them in 6. I thought game 1 would be theirs. We'll talk about what I think is going to happen in game 2. I felt like last night would be, it would be, if there was going to be a moment where one of the two teams was going to struggle with how to adjust to the other, it was going to be Dallas with Boston. Now, even that might sound a bit weird considering Boston is taking a step up in competition, right? But Boston is this A1 team that has been excellent all season. The problem is 92% of the country that doesn't like them fail to realize that they're actually good. So everyone thought that was picking Dallas to win this series. And for some people, some group of folks thought that Dallas was going to win this series in like less than 6 games, which is, I think, a wild take. But hey, listen, I have been known to be wrong before. Maybe that's going to happen. Who knows? All I'm saying is this. It was clear in my book that going into last night, the team that would take longer to adjust was going to be Dallas to Boston. And here's why. Boston gave Dallas something that they hadn't covered and it played the entire postseason, which was a true 5-out team that Dallas had to worry about guarding every single position. And that was a problem last night. They struggled to get out on Horford early. They struggled to get out on Porzingas, which we'll talk about him because boy, oh boy, did he make an impact. Dallas really struggled. It was the first game in the entire postseason where both of their centers looked bad. Gafford was ineffective. Lively looked like a rookie for the first time in God knows how long. And the centers of Boston and the game plan they had took the centers of Dallas away on the offensive side, which is what really has been kind of the safety valve offense for the Mavs in this entire postseason run, which is late in the clock. Let's just get into a pick and roll, and we're going to have Luka or Kyrie throw the ball at the shot clock, and one of these two centers are going to jump up, hit their head on the ceiling, and they're going to dunk it. That didn't happen last night. It was completely taken away, mainly by Kristaps Porzingas. Again, we will talk about him here in a moment. So that was the thing that I expected to happen is Dallas having to figure out how to navigate that. Another thing is, listen, we have all talked about Kyrie Irving. We have loved Kyrie Irving. He was bad last night. People failed to understand that this is going to be a very tough series for him. The Celtics have, listen, Luka can adapt and figure out a way to impact the game. He had 30 points last night. Now, outside of a couple plays in the first quarter when the game actually was tight, and then during the comeback when he had a couple huge shots, I don't think any of his plays were particularly like, oh my God, here are some, like he just was scoring. No, it wasn't, important scoring or whatnot, though sometimes that can be kind of a weird way to talk about it. Like those points didn't matter. Well, it's like, I mean, would you just rather have not scored? You know what I'm saying? So that's a weird conversation, I think, to have sometimes. All I'm saying is Luka's going to find a way to navigate to 28, 30 points, whatever. Kyrie's got to be a difference maker in order for Dallas to have a chance. And Boston has guys that can lock him up. They have not, lock him up maybe is a bit harsh, but they have guys that can give him problems. I understand Kyrie was awesome. He was super duper superstar level against Los Angeles in round 1, the Clippers. In round 3 against Minnesota, he had 2 of the 5 games he was meh. 3 of the 5 games, though, he was awesome. He was awesome setting the tone in game 1, keeping them in the game against Minnesota in game 1 before Luka came alive in the second half. In game 3, him and Luka down the stretch were huge. And in game 5, he was magnificent just right alongside Luka. They both had 36 points. In round 2, though, that is the one team that really has had the ability to guard him and guard him well. That was Oklahoma City. Boston is a better version of Oklahoma City with all of their personnel, all of their style of play, and Boston has better defenders that can go at Kyrie. Drew Holiday, Derek White are the main two. And both of those guys last night were superb. Kyrie was really struggling to get shots. He also had a couple open looks that were there. And I don't know whether it's from good defense throughout the night. When you get these open looks, they're just, maybe it's more pressure on you. Maybe it's tougher to hit them. I don't know, because maybe you're sped up expecting a tough closeout. But he had a couple good looks, especially open ones, especially when Dallas was pushing to come back, and he just bricked him. So Kyrie will have to be better in game 2. When we'll talk about game 2, of course, at the end. Let's talk about Boston, and let's talk about, in my mind, the man who won the night last night, and that's Kristaps Porzingas. The Stephen A. rant from 2000, whatever year he was drafted, 14, 15? I don't know. We have been bamboozled, led astray, run amok, outright deceived, etc. That was making the rounds last night. That was great. You also remember, if you watch that rant, he talks about players in the that he thought the Knicks should have drafted, like Justice Winslow and Stanley Johnson and some other guy that also isn't in the NBA anymore. So, listen, I think the Knicks did well when they drafted Porzingas. I think Porzingas has had a long and winding road to get here. But, man, it was cool to see kind of where this guy was. He gets drafted 4th overall. Everyone thinks the pick is stupid. Then instantly he's like, people understand, oh my God, this dude is awesome. And he is the first official unicorn of the NBA. You remember that time when he came into the league? You had Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Giannis, all of these huge guys that could ball handle and Ben Simmons couldn't shoot, but he either could shoot or stretch the floor or do crazy stuff. Porzingas was the OG. He was first class of the unicorns. He was that guy. Like, you know how Double XL or whatever have their freshman class? He was the one. That was him. Porzingas, all of a sudden, he leaves. He gets traded to Milwaukee, has the knee injuries in New York, or not Milwaukee, gets traded to Dallas, has some brutal luck there. Him and Luka never mesh. He gets sent to Washington, the the Siberia of the NBA, the last few years, especially this year. But he was really good on the Wizards last season, and I think what Boston was able to identify and going after him, Porzingas has been their cheat code this season. You look at the rim protection stuff that he's one of the analytically one of the top 5 rim protectors in the league this year. You saw it last night he was affecting stuff at every turn when he was in the game. Dallas had no runway to the rim. And Dallas has gone up against in the postseason Chet, who's a solid rim protector, and Rudy. Those are 2 of the other top 5 or 6 rim protectors in the league. And Kristaps Porzingis absolutely ate them alive. And the biggest thing is, listen, Porzingis was playing like there are fires shooting out of his eyeballs and his nostrils and his ears last night. He's blocking driving shots to the rim. He's basically taking away the drop. He's playing drop coverage and defending the lob at the same time while stopping the driver on the pick and roll. He's blocking jump shots. He has a one-on-one with Josh Green, and Josh Green decides to go up and dunk it, and Kristaps says, nope, that's a bad idea. And then on the offensive end, the shot making was incredible. Porzingis this season has absolutely baptized, changed the lives of people who have tried to guard him in the post that are not bigs. Anytime the Boston's offense can be very, very, very maddening at times. But when Porzingis is in there, this offense is nuclear because this is the version of the offense that actually hunts mismatches. People think they can just get away because Porzingis is big, but he's not this massive physical feature. People think that they can get away with switching smaller players on them. And last night, Dallas tried to do that. They tried to put Derrick Jones on him in a switch, Jaden Hardy on a switch, Josh Green on a switch. And he's just in the mid post, like at the elbow, jabbing, and then just shooting like wide open because the guy's 6'1" and he's at his belly button. And Porzingis is just throwing these shots over and into the basket, which got him going. Then he's spacing the floor and hitting these like trail 3-pointers from 30 feet. He was insane. He was killing it in the short roll. They're finding him. He's dunking the ball. Kristaps was incredible. In the first half, he was the reason that Boston, he lit a fire under that building. When he came out in the warm-ups, the entire building was hype. That place, when he came into the game, was on fire. They got rolling early. They were shooting incredibly well. The ball was moving incredibly well. He was playing amazing. It was really cool to see him have that moment. And I don't know if he's going to be that good every night. I know Mavericks fans are going to go to bed tonight and say Porzingis ain't going to kill us every night like that. Listen, man, if he's healthy and out there, he is the cheat code for the Celtics. If that 5-man unit of Porzingis, White, Holiday, Brown, and Tatum, it is the best unit in the league, bar none. No ifs, buts, or coconuts about it. That there is no offensive unit better in the NBA. You can argue also defense because that team has that lineup has 2 all-league defenders, 2 other really good defenders, and an elite rim protector. If Porzingis is healthy and he can play at that level, this series could, and I think Boston will have a stinker or 2 potentially, but man, the path for Dallas just gets that much harder. I think let's look at what happened there in the second half for Dallas. I think So the game it got up to 28 points, and it was a lot of Luka. Boston's defense, I thought, did a great job of forcing Dallas to isolate a lot. The ball never, it was a rarity that the ball hit both sides of the floor in the half court. It was a whole lot of ISO ball. The lobs were not there. The Dallas, who lived on corner threes, I'd have to go back and watch the tape. I don't know what Boston did specifically to take away those, but Dallas shot 3 corner threes all night last night. Oklahoma City fans, turn off this or go to bed and start to cry into your pillow in the fetal position, because you're just watching PJ Washington burp up bricks and Derek Jones Jr. be rendered useless, and Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively just looked bad, and Lively have 5 fouls in 19 minutes. And the Thunder are sitting here like, you have to be kidding me. We could be here if it wasn't for a couple of these guys just playing over their ass for a couple weeks. Now, listen, I think Lively and Gafford are incredible, but I mean, PJ Washington, Derek Jones, and Josh Green missed, they shot 53% from 3. Or no, they shot near 60% from 3 in the Thunder series. Those 3 guys alone. So, hey, man, to each his own, I guess. But the biggest thing for Dallas in the comeback trail for not last night, but in game 2 will be Kyrie. We'll talk about that in a sec. Again, so Dallas ends the first half well. Luka has a couple nice looks. In the second half, the comeback is starting. I think a lot of it was Luka generated. I thought he had really good moments last night. I don't think, you can argue what was and wasn't effective, but I thought, when they were playing well, I thought Luka was the main part of it. Now, listen, on defense, they went after him. The Celtics, not just Boston, but Jaylen Brown specifically, went hunting for 77. There are a multitude of times where Brown is picking him out, where they're trying to hide Luka. This is the difference between this series against Boston, and it's not trying to say that Dallas is not good. It's just that Boston has been head and shoulders almost better than almost everyone in the league this year, and this is the difference between them and having to play everybody else because of who they have on their roster. Luka could hide guarding Josh Giddey against Oklahoma City. Or Luka could end up guarding Jalen Williams, and while Jalen Williams is shooting 20% from the field, and learning what it's like to be a 21-year-old in the playoffs. Luka can hide against Jaden McDaniel. Now, listen, Luka's played really good defense, but their teams have not been able to just hunt him and go after him. And Boston in the first half went at him on multiple possessions. So Dallas is going to have to kind of adjust that a little bit. All of the rim protection stuff that Dallas has shown in the last 2 rounds, where they just dominated the paint and it was like the no-fly zone go into the rim with Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Boston I know Boston shot 42 threes compared to 42s, but they shot 16 of 42 from 3. And they shot 23 for 40 from the 2-point from inside the 3-point line. So yeah, they shot the ball pretty damn well last night. Out rebounding them as well. They got them on the offensive glass. You could see early, there were a couple possessions early in the game when Boston had 2, 3, 4 offensive rebounds. That's what happens when Dallas has to do something they haven't done for the entire playoffs. And that is have to worry about covering 5 out. They have to actually worry about everybody on the floor being able to shoot and score instead of a couple guys that you can just kind of hide. Against Oklahoma City, Josh Giddey was out there at most of the time, and they were just like, dude, knock yourself out. After they benched him after game 4, by that time, a lot of the confidence was shook on most of those dudes. And they just said, screw it, we're going to pack the paint and live with the results. And Oklahoma City could not find water if they fell into a full dishwasher. Against Minnesota, Rudy's out there most of the time. He can't even catch the ball, let alone shoot the ball. So Dallas was able to listen. They have been awesome. I'm not trying to hammer Dallas. I'm just saying I do think it has been asinine what people were like portraying this series as, where you have some people like Mavs in 5. Now, listen, maybe, who knows? And we're going to talk about them in a minute. I think I'm picking Dallas to win game 2. All that being said, like, I just feel like over 7 games, 6, 7 games, whatever this goes, like Dallas has to go up a level that they haven't gone to yet, even though they have played way tougher competition. This is the toughest competition in Boston. This is, and they have to adjust. And I think we're about to talk about what I think is going to happen in game 2. I just think I feel like for what Dallas does or what Dallas did going into last night, Boston was able to just kind of take away and change a lot of things up. Okay. Other stuff that did happen. We'll talk some of the other guys in this game. I thought we've already talked about the impact of the space and the 5 out. Like first play of the game, it is a drive and kick to an Al Horford corner 3. Daniel Gafford closes out. Horford eyebrow fakes him, and Gafford goes flying into the 8th row, and Horford drives baseline and dunks. Like that just shows instantly that the Dallas centers were in the deep end last night. I mean, look at the fouls that Derek Lively last night played 18 minutes and had 5 fouls. Like, he's having to cover these guys driving him and from different angles. Like, it just has not been as streamlined as it has been in the postseason for Dallas. So they had to adjust. I think they're going to, and I think we are going to still get a fun series. But all of these things are why I am not surprised last night happened the way it happened. On the Boston end, Tatum wasn't great. 6 for 16. I do think, though, he was great at distributing. I thought he did a good job. He did have 11 rebounds. I thought he was good defensively. Early in the game, first possession, what I felt was going to happen, they had him guarding Daniel Gafford. So you could argue a reason some of these corner threes aren't there is because they got to kind of change the math on who they want to have setting the ball screen. If Luka wants to go at KP or Horford or Sam Hauser or when he's in the game or something like that, or maybe even Derek White, even though, again, Derek White's an all-league defender, but, that's kind of a matchup maybe where Luka definitely could throw his weight around. These guys aren't going to be guarding the bigs. They're going to be guarding the guys in the corner, especially the bigs like KP and Horford. Well, KP is going to be in there probably guarding the 5s. It seemed like last night they were okay with that, especially because they feel like he can be the guy to defend going to the lobs. But the first unit out there, when Horford was in the starting lineup, Tatum was guarding Gafford. So that was notable early. And that alone does take the corner threes away because you have Horford and I think White, who was guarding Jones, just stuck to those guys like glue. Or those are the dudes that are having to come out and set the screens because they don't want to switch Tatum they don't want to go from Brown guarding Luka to Tatum guarding Luka. That's just something. I mean, where's the matchup advantage there? It's just kind of setting a screen for no reason. I thought Jaylen Brown in the second half was awesome. I thought defensively he was incredible. He guarded Luka well throughout the night. Listen, again, Luka's going to fall out of bed and get 30. I thought Jaylen Brown was superb in that game. That was one of my he only scored 22, I know, but that was one of my favorite Jaylen Brown games I've watched. I thought the level of play he had, and I thought the impact in the second half to kind of help. He was the guy once they're not that they were going to let go of the rope, but it got a little bit weird there. Boston's offense for the first 6-7 minutes of the third quarter just was bad. The one problem I always have with Boston's offense is they just kind of find ways for long periods of time to where the wrong guy ends up making decisions to end the shot clock, whether last night it was Drew Holiday or sometimes it's Derek White. Listen, all these guys are great, but you got dudes out there that should be making decisions instead. And Brown and Tatum needed to be the guys to save the lives last night. And Brown made a couple huge plays. Really, they cut it down to, it got cut from, it was a 29-9 run to end the second quarter, and for like the first 7-ish minutes of the third, to cut it from 28-8. And then Boston scored, I think, the next 12 or 14, and Brown was huge in every single one of those plays. I thought Drew Holiday last night, Drew Holiday is the king of do not look at the box score because it will not tell the impact of the game. I thought he did have 12, 8, and 5, but like I thought he was magnificent. I thought he guarded Kyrie incredibly well. I thought in the second half, after once Dallas started coming back, I thought he guarded Luka, and he thought he did a really good job on him in the second half. I thought Drew was incredible last night as well. For Dallas, I think the main thing for them is Kyrie's got to be better. I think he's got to do a better job of just making shots. Mainly, I thought he did a good job. I thought he was active defensively. I thought he was doing a good job of trying to cause havoc last night. And that's something that has been better. That's something just light years better for him, is the buy-in that this team has and he has defensively, because he's just a nuisance at times. He's not a great defender, but he's not just a corpse like he was before he got traded to Dallas on the defensive end. But he's got to be better at hitting some shots. This game could have gotten squirrely. There are multiple times last night down the stretch in that third quarter when the Mavs are making their run and Kyrie Irving has a wide open three-pointer and he just bricks it. He was not good last night. I think he'll have a better game in game 2. But again, they are doing a great job of trying to make sure he does not get going, because Boston knows that's the way, right? If there is a way for Dallas to kind of live in this series, it's going to be Luka's going to get his, but Kyrie is going to be what takes them to the next level. Other than those two guys, I'm going to be interested to see how they try to adjust on the offensive end to try to get easier looks. I thought a lot of their offense last night just looked hard. And you can tell sometimes in these games, if a team is struggling early, if it looks harder for them to operate than another, then you can just tell it's going to be a long night. And Dallas, it was harder for them to get offensive looks than it was for Boston. I think that'll be interesting to see in game 2. If Dallas is able to find ways to navigate and have better offense. One of the things I love about the NBA Finals is you start plucking guys off of your rotation really quickly, because when you get to these final series, all of a sudden these matchups happen where you just have guys that you think would be normally available in your rotation, and they just aren't playable for one reason or another. And I thought Boston kind of clipped off 2 of those guys in the first 9 minutes of the game. I understand that Jaden Hardy had 13 points in 11 minutes, but man, oh man, those minutes were rough because he was being hunted on the Porzingas switches, and a lot of the offense, he was kind of the man who commanded the second unit last night. And there was a good stretch of time when the ship was sinking last night, when Boston's going on this crazy run, where Jaden Hardy is the one who makes these decisions on offense. And I'm like, brother, I guess it's an NBA Finals game, but hey, we're here. And also Josh Green. I love the Josh Green minutes. The Josh Green minutes give me life. They knew they were not playing him enough in round 1, and then instantly put him in, and his energy and his ability changes things. But man, oh man, it's just the matchup. Like, they went at Green and Hardy last night with Porzingas, and they got matchups every time. If those two guys are going to play, they have to do a better job to not give up easy switches, especially with Porzingas in there. They have to either double him, they got to guard him differently. They got to do something else, because you cannot just allow him to be that was way too easy last night for Boston to get to those switches. And Porzingis, it's like Dallas didn't know that he was going to do that. It's like what? Like, do you watch film? Do you not understand what this guy's done all season? But I mean, hey, Maybe they were just like the rest of the national media and not realize that Boston's good, and they didn't realize that Kristaps Porzingas has been really good this year. I think I expect the use of the bigs maybe to be a little bit more. Maybe we'll see more Kleba in game 2. Maybe they'll decide to have him out there instead of Lively and Gafford and have him at the 5. But if he's out there, he's got to hit shots. That's the main thing. I don't think this is a Daniel Gafford series. Even though he did finish with 8 points last night, he just 14 minutes, very ineffective. If he is not listen, I think Gafford is awesome, but if he's not the 5-man where you're running everything to him so he can erase it on defense, or just catching lobs and being really athletic, then he's kind of useless. Lively at least has a bit. He does have way more stuff on his game. Lively has already shown he's got short roll capability. He's got the ability to catch and actually do stuff with the ball, even under the basket. He can get out and do a little bit more defensively. Last night, he just got into a bunch of foul trouble. So I think, maybe I think Gafford will still start, but I think a key for Dallas is they have to find a way to get him going. They have to find a way to get the lobs back. They have to find a way to get easier shots. That's the main thing. All that being said, if I had to bet money on it, I think I would pick Dallas to win game 2. I think Luke is going to come out and be very, very dialed in and set the tone. Boston in these game 2s have been very bad other than the Indiana series. I expect Dallas to just look better. But we will know in the first, we will know very quickly. We will know in the first 6.5 minutes of game 2, because if Dallas is out here and they're still struggling to get like easy shots, then we will know that this series is a bit more lopsided than we initially thought. Not that saying if Dallas doesn't win on Sunday, the series is over, because I'm not saying that at all. I am saying, though, like, they have to create an easier path. They have to make things easier on themselves. They have to do a better job of getting getting better shots. They have to do a better job of making themselves, adaptable on offense. They have to find the right combinations on defense to where they're not getting absolutely barbecued in these switches like they were last night. So the path is harder for Dallas. And the easy thing to say is I'm not going to react to game 1, because that's the thing that all these geniuses say. And I do think if I had to bet money on it, I think Dallas will win game 2, because I think Luke is going to be superb, and I think Kyrie will play better. He won't miss a bunch of open shots. But again, we will be able to tell very quickly, because of if Dallas is still out struggling to get an easy look, then all right, we have to reassess a few things. Okay, that's going to do it for today. 35 minutes, they go in a breeze. All right, want to thank our partners. First off, our fantastic sponsors here on the podcast network. Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook. Want to thank our audience. Twitter always kills it with our audience. We appreciate you guys all the time. So shout out to y'all. We'll be back on Monday. Game 2 is Sunday. We'll be back Monday afternoon for Game 2 recap. And that'll be fun. Hopefully, that game will be a little bit more entertaining, and we'll have a little bit more juice than we did today. But I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. This has been the Educated Ignorance podcast, presented by Bryant Beal from Keller Williams Midwest Partners. We will see you guys on Monday. If you ain't got your game, you best pass the sticks. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you guys Monday. Enjoy the finals. Enjoy all the finals. Enjoy the sports. Enjoy the good weather. We'll see you guys. Take care.